Hi, everybody. Give everybody a couple minutes to just jump on here and let us know when you're here. Tonight we are going to answer the question, do you have any tips for older horses? My horse has breathing problems. We're going to give some tips about that. If you have not been here before, then welcome. Thanks for being here. My name's Lindsay. This is Jess. We're here every Tuesday at 7:30 answering questions that were sent in by you guys. And if you have a question or a topic that you would like for us to address, you can send that in to us at hayescofelph@gmail.com. We would be happy to add your question to our list to get to sometime soon. If you are interested in having the replay sent to your inbox, then you can do that by kind of help her out, help the family out with all of the extraordinary expenses until she got her lung transplant. She had her double lung transplant a year ago it'll be two years ago in June this year that she got it. And she's doing well. She wears a respirator when she's riding. Her transplant team agreed to allow her in the barn and to ride as long as she's got her respirator on. So she wears her respirator and she is back in action riding and doing all of the horse things, which is awesome.
I think a lot of vets, same as a lot of horse people, they get certain things that they like. You know, my one horse did well on this drug or on this therapy, so I'm going to do that with all of them. But, you know, you got to talk to your vet, ask them different therapies, ask them different ideas, and come up with a plan and stick to it. I think that's another one. You know, we see so many people, they stick with it for a week and then they maybe don't go to the barn for a week if it's at a boarding place, or they, you know, I didn't bother worrying about it because I ain't riding them this week. Well, you know, stuff like that. You got to stick to it and stick to your plan and get to know your vet really well.
Yeah, I want to elaborate on that a little bit before we move on from that, because we will share some of the things that we have found that work for us. But when we say ask your vet, you know, listen to what your vet says, you have to really listen to what they say, because sometimes the things they're saying are very simple, but they are the things that make the biggest difference, and they're also the things that take the most amount of work for the owner. And I think people look for shortcuts. They look for things that are easier, maybe things that are a little bit more unusual that they think will have a more dramatic.
Pay attention to them.
Okay.
I think that's one thing a lot of people don't, especially in the wintertime. You know, they go in, they feed their horse, they bring them in from outside, but they don't pay attention to them, I think, enough. They don't pay attention to the hay they're feeding, the grain they're feeding, how their stalls are kept, like all the stuff that makes a difference. And they don't just pay attention to what's going on. Sometimes it's not possible as much as we would like, but I think as people in the wintertime, it turns into, you know, how quick can I do chores? Like if you come home from work, it's how quick can I feed the horses? I go get into the warm house. You know, just pay attention to what they're doing that's different from yesterday. You know, did I change the shavings at the feed store? Did I change some hay? You know, what type of grain? Like all the stuff. And I think that's the biggest thing, aside from well, I haven't worried about it too much. I haven't been riding them. It's
Yeah, just been
wintertime,
waiting for it to go away or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to magically appear.
I think if there was one thing that makes a difference with horses, it's get them outside. Get them outside as much as possible. You know, it's not like I can put my horse out for an hour and he's okay, or I can put him out for 4 hours, you know, and then he got that fresh air, so he's okay. Like, I think living outside 24/7 is the best thing for horses that have any kind of breathing problem. Because even if they have a breathing problem when they're younger, as soon as the body starts to develop that response, it becomes easier and track of how they're doing at specific times in the year. Like the springtime, we have horses that flare up in the springtime. We have horses that flare up when all the crops are taken off around us. We have had horses that flare up in the humidity or in the cold weather. Specific crops coming off have made a difference for some horses, but you wouldn't notice that. There's a horse in the barn to choose your demons, right? It looks like we're losing. It looks like we're losing our connection a little bit, you guys. The replay will have everything. So if you need to come back and watch the replay to catch some of what we're saying, then definitely do that. I'm sorry that the connection doesn't seem great. Sorry, what were you going to say?
Well, I think one thing we see, especially up here in Canada, is everybody wants to make their barns really warm. And, you know, lots of horses in a small area, keep it warm. Keep them trailers are open too. A lot of the shows we go to, the air quality, you know, they smell great the first day or two because of everybody's with fresh shavings. And by the Saturday night, Sunday, boy, the barns are just a little tough. And you can see some of them horses struggling.
Yeah.
So then you got to get them outside, get them, you know, walk them outside for a little bit.
Ammonia is so bad for breathing conditions. It's not, people think a lot about dust and don't always think about the ammonia. Ammonia is so bad for them. A place where people get in trouble with sound. So keeping all of that watered down, minimizing that dust is, you know, definitely makes a difference for horses with breathing problems. And then riding. I know a lot of people get worried about riding their horses when they have breathing problems, but I think it's really important, and we're saying breathing problems like kind of as a blanket for a lot of different issues, but I think as all of the advice from the vets is work the horse a little bit and take more frequent breaks rather than try to work them in struggling for air. You're better to do a lot of short stuff and just kind of get them breathing hard and then give them a break before they actually get to the point where they're, you know, struggling for air. But lots of little sessions where they're having to work, you know, maybe they start to have to breathe a little bit harder, nostrils start to flare a little bit, then back off until they completely catch their breath and then go back to work. And it can be different, that amount they can
rant. I think one of the things too is you want to feed them down low.
Yeah.
I've always had more luck, and maybe not, I mean, in our stalls we have rubber mats, but you get their heads down low. When they eat up high, everything goes down into their lungs. Get them down low, get them, you know, if it involves where you buy a $25 Rubbermatic TSC and throw it in the corner where you're just going to feed. You know, there is stuff that you can do that will help them, you know, and it's worth it. You know, I think that's a big one too, is get them on the ground, get that leg or that neck stretched out, get it down, and they'll pick up a lot less junk. What's your other ones?
The other thing
Tell
I
us
was
your
gonna,
rants.
yeah, the other thing I was gonna say was not a rant. The other thing I was gonna say was grooming. Grooming, like in the fall, in the spring and in the fall, and when horses are really muddy, the spring especially,
molds on them that's triggering your horse, you know, switch that hay out. Different grasses. You know, there's just so many things that you can try. But pay attention to them, you know, keep on it. Breathing isn't something you mess around with.
Yeah, and if you have to water the hay, water the shavings, stay on top of the meds. Like, if your vet puts you on something, puts you on a regimen, stick to that. You know, do the work that's required. I think if you do that work, you make sure the hay is good, you keep an eye on them, you keep them outside as much as you can. Knock on wood, we've had really good luck with, I shouldn't say good luck, we do all the things. So for the most part, we've been able to manage it really well for a lot of horses. And then there is a time where you can't manage it anymore.
I think that one definitely needs to be talked about too, is the quality of life, because that's a tricky one when they can't breathe.
Yeah,
You know, their quality of life, you have to be realistic.
yeah.
You know, if they're, because that one's a tough one when they can't breathe. Be realistic about that horse.
That is a tough one, yeah. And I was talking to, I'm not sure if Vanessa's watching, but I was talking to Vanessa, I think it was that, last week, about her old mare and how she's, you know, Vanessa has done all the things she can to help that mare with her breathing. The mare also struggles from arthritis, and these are the things that happen at the kind of end stages of life for horses, where we're dealing with multiple things and trying to balance them. And the mare was doing quite well with her breathing, so Vanessa took her off of the meds that she had her on for her breathing in order to give her a different set of medication for her arthritis. And unfortunately, when she pulled her off of that, the breathing flared up again. And that's where it gets really tough, and where you start to get into that zone of deciding, you know, what the quality of life is, and when you're going to have to start to make a difficult decision for that. You know, difficult decision, but also the kindest decision that you can make on your horse's behalf. If anybody has any questions, I know our connection has not been very good, and it sounds like maybe our sound has gone out a couple of times for people, but if you have any questions and you want to leave them, now would be the time to do that. We'll try to answer those questions for you. The other question that I'm getting a lot is, how is the dog settling in, and does Jess like the dog? You want to answer that?
I think the dog's settling in great.
I think everybody knows I love the dog.
I think the dog's settling in just fine. He
What
rules
is he
the
doing
room.
right now?
Oh, who knows?
He's over in his bed. Put himself to bed. He had enough.
He goes in the house. He's just as cozy as can be.
Yeah, he crashes hard at night. He's out here working and living the dog life, and when he goes in the house, he is out cold snoring.
I'm not sure what
quite
he's
funny.
working the cows. He thinks he's working.
He
I
thinks
just-
he's doing a lot of work in the day, yeah. Running the cows, following the tractor, checking out the horses, barking at a few, playing with all the toys he can find,
Yep.
greeting the people now that we're starting to have some people back. Okay, thanks for joining us. You guys, it doesn't look like there's any questions here, but if there are, you can leave them here and I will try to get back to them. Yeah, it looks like some of you guys lost our sound for a little while. Oh shoot, it looks like Chuck and Shirley are getting a bad connection. Shirley, you'll have to watch the replay. I know you're on the email list, so next week on Tuesday when it comes to your inbox, make sure that you get to watch the replay. I know we've kind of cut out a little bit tonight. And once we're done here, you should be able to watch the whole thing back if you go back onto our Facebook page. But thank you so much for saying that you think I'm a pretty rider. And the connection, the connection in Bethlehem is poor. Do not work my older horse, but I make sure he keeps his air. Yeah, that's good to hear. All right, thanks for being here. You guys, send us in your questions. We'll add them to the list. We have a couple of good topics coming up, and I'm not sure what to do about making this guy look like he's warmer. He's the one sitting in front of the heater. Can't remember who said at the beginning. Jess looks cold. Jess is cold.
I have been out here all day. I am cold.
Yeah.
I'm good when I stay riding.
But you got your boots on,
once
so
I
you're
stop,
happy.
I'm
You got
just
your new
cold.
boots on.
I got my new boots on. I'm cozy. I'm good.
Yeah. Okay, thanks for being here tonight, you guys. Sorry the connection was poor. I hope you can go back and rewatch and catch what you missed. And
Is next week Valentine's Day? Or is that Monday?
no, Valentine's Day is Monday. Yeah. Well, you don't have something big and elaborate planned for Monday?
How do you know I don't?
Because you don't even know what day it is.
We get to know who won the Super Bowl. That'll be on Sunday.
Okay,
Valentine's
so
Day will be on Monday.
we haven't even talked about this. Have you seen the Super Bowl halftime show? Have you seen what it is?
No.
Okay.
Why?
It's going to be awesome.
Who is it?
It's like a whole bunch of artists from like when I used to be fun and go out and do stuff.
They're bringing all the old ones back?
Yeah.
The old.
Yep. Yep. It's going to be awesome.
No, me and actually Don Pletch were talking about it today. We didn't even know who was. Didn't even know who was.
There's a
playing
lot
it.
of great memes going around right now on the internet about the halftime show and how everybody in their like mid 30s to mid 40s is going to be reliving their youth, and their kids are going to find out what kind of people they really are. Yeah, it's awesome. Did Jess ever get his heated vest?
Yep.
Is he wearing
Kinda,
it right
sorta.
now?
No, I can't get the battery to work. There's instructions. I couldn't figure it out.
Well, we'll find it. We'll figure out how to make it work by the time it warms up.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, thanks you guys, and send us in your questions or topics, hazekofeldph@gmail.com. Make sure that you sign up to get the replay in on the cover page of our Facebook or in the link in our bio if you're finding us on Instagram, and you will get all the updates about everything in there. You'll get any of the new items inside of the tack shop. You'll get what's going on in Momentum, our online coaching